Hi everyone, good evening and welcome to the analysis session of Prime Mock 14, which was based on AILET, which is of course for admissions to the National Law University Delhi. और ये mock थोड़ा surprising था, isn't it? So this mock was based on, and those who have seen earlier paper, of course, they would recognize it. This mock was based on AILET 2023, which itself was a surprise element because a lot of things happened in 2022. We saw two clads happening in 1 year, then not expected, but we still saw two IELTS happening in the same year. Actually, it was not expected because earlier it was communicated to students that AILET will continue to happen in May. And then when this paper was conducted in the month of December, it came as a shocker to everyone. But nevertheless, given the current structure, there is always a scope for surprises, and NLU Delhi has been always good at it actually. So if we talk about अगर NLU Delhi की बात करते हैं तो NLU Delhi I think मुझे लगता है हमेशा से surprises देने में अच्छा रहा है. So today we are going to discuss the Prime Mock 14 and we'll do the analysis. We'll look at the data over here. And as usual, I have with me Siddharth sir and Swasni ma'am. So we'll go ahead and do the session today. Let me quickly set the agenda for the evening for everyone's benefit and what we are going to cover today. So first of all, we'll definitely look at AILET 2023. We'll have a look at its overview because this mock was very closely following that particular paper. If you have attempted the paper, you do realize that similar to AILET 2023, यहाँ पर भी क्या हुआ था, यहाँ पर हमने English और लॉजिकल रीजनिंग सेक्शन को एक साथ मर्ज किया था, लाइक सेक्शन ए एंड सेक्शन बी, सेक्शन 1A and section 1B, just like what happened in AILET 2023. We'll definitely look at the mock from that perspective, the quality of the passages which were picked up during for the mock, and we have added a new element over here. We'll look at the FK grade scale actually, so which is about the ease of reading actually. So how close we were if we talk about AILET 2023 from that perspective. Of course, I'll help you understand the average scores of the top 100 students for the data received so far. And we'll look at the score versus percentile basically. So the section-wise analysis of the two sections, I would say, not the usual three, but two sections, I would say, over here. So before I go ahead and invite the panel members, anything specific, Siddharth, Suhasini, you'd like to talk about for this particular mock?
Okay, so as you have already stated, sir, that we are going ahead with the analysis, and some of them may not have written the mock, or maybe some of them are new to our channel also. So to make you understand, it's not like that we are just sticking to AILET 2024 pattern, because they love giving surprises. So we also love giving surprises, and we also love to have, like, we want you to be prepared from each and every perspective. So keeping that in mind, in our mocks also, we are not just sticking to what has been asked in 2024. We are also, we are also trying to cover 2023, or maybe to some extent somewhere AILET 2022 also. So those of you who are new, not aware of how we go ahead with the mocks and all, this was just to give you a brief idea about the same. So that's it.
We can continue. I will add where required.
Okay. So just a quick recap what happened in AILET 2023. So definitely, as I mentioned, जैसे मैंने बताया अभी थोड़ी देर पहले कि definitely तो surprise था. It was definitely a surprise actually, and nobody was prepared. And but what was good about this particular change was that one had to read only one passage actually. So while they're solving earlier, you had to read passages in the English section for those 50 questions. Then you had to read passages in the logical reasoning section for another 70 questions, which was there in 2022. Here, one passage covered 12 questions from across each of the passages, and all 120 questions across English logical reasoning, which of course definitely includes the legal reasoning based questions, and to some extent the surprise element in terms of analytical reasoning, which has always been covered by NLU Delhi for that reason. So at least one had to read only 10 passages. Now, surprisingly, that did not that ease, when I say where you got more time in terms of reading because you had less number of passages to read. One of the surprising element when it comes to LET 2023 results was only 12 students across India managed to get a total overall score of 80 marks, actually 80 or above actually. So that was a surprise element because we expected most students to have got that number, but only in the ALT 2023 paper, only 12 students got a score of 80 or above. And however, the if I talk about the general category, the closure, the seats closure happened around a score of 72, so which was more on an expected line actually. So that was a brief overview about this. Now we'll move on to the section and we'll map it to the mocks, actually look at from that perspective. Now, for everyone's understanding, and of course, Siddharth will elaborate more on this. So, what we have done is we have also included this time the FK grade, which is about ease of reading, basically, and that's related to age as well, actually, in what level you are. Now, generally, when we talk about FK grade scale, actually, if it is in the range of 9 to 12, it means it's an average one, and from a student, from a age perspective, it largely covers people who are between 14 to 17 years of age. And I think this is where NLU Delhi worked very well. If I look at from that perspective, they had kept that the difficulty level of the passages as far as the reading is concerned within that range itself, knowing the fact that most of the students who will be taking the examination would be around 16 and a half, 17 and a half years age group actually. There were 10 passages in 2023, and the sources, if you can see, a couple of passages were picked up from Wikipedia itself. Actually, this was definitely a surprising element. कि मतलब Wikipedia पे जा करके research करके and then picking up the passage. That's my take actually. I think whoever created this particular section, I think I must give credit to that person.
And also, to add one thing, so we as a law student or law faculty, the first take of ours is that we'll not refer to Wikipedia no matter what. That is something which we, for the, like, it's like we are not going to use it for any purpose, whether it's research, reference, anything.
Oh, that's that's really surprising in that case, Suhasini. Siddharth, what would be your take? I'm sure
See,
you actually gave the paper. I remember.
yeah. See, I think as far as the paper is concerned, somebody who looks at it for the first time, it's a big surprise element. And considering the surprise element, I think that was the only factor that caused that cutoff to go to around 80 or 72 marks that you were talking about. So when somebody, nobody could have imagined that they could do something of this sort. They did that, and that's why we have replicated in our mocks as you discussed. And once again, I believe that I completely agree with you that NLU Delhi is one exam which I really love the way they innovate and they do different type of things. I mean, they picked up book reviews from Amazon. I remember Amazon के 3 book review उठा के डाला था. I don't remember 22 का था वो शायद एलेट वो डाल दिया था. Who could have imagined that? So yeah, so that is what they do. They put a lot of effort behind maybe framing the question paper. It's debatable whether it is a standard way to test a student, but that is what they do. At least we can give credit कुछ सोच के बनाते हैं, unlike CLAT. So FK grade, I will like to add one more thing.
Yeah.
See, basically, Miten talked about age. That's the same thing, but looking at it from the other angle, when we say FK grade is 11, that means anybody who is in class standard 11, right? 10 plus 1, that is 10 plus 1, should understand that passage comfortably. So there would be passages with FK grade 16 and 17. What that would mean is 10 plus 6 years ka somebody who has exposure to the English language should understand that passage. That is what it is. Now, if you look at the word count, the Miten sir has pointed it out. There were few big passages, 700 plus words, 600 plus words. In the actual AILET exam, however, in our mock, I think that element was missing, and that would have been one easier thing. There was not no passage which was beyond 450 words. So
And then
442
also,
I can see is the highest. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also, so there are students saying this mock ended up causing a burnout by the end, especially. How do we avoid this burnout? So, if they got burned out in our mock, then looking at the paper where the passages were quite lengthy, what would have been the
Yeah.
situation of them? And everybody was like, this mock actually was quite tough for them.
I think what made it difficult was the range of questions. So there was mathematics. There were quite a few questions on maths, trigonometry. Tha. Then I can see there were questions on simple maths also, percentage ratio. Tha. There was analytical reasoning. There was premise and conclusion. There were
So that was
normal
also
English question, vocab question. So even legal was there. Although I mean that was easy, but then as far as the diversity is concerned, it tested everything. So that the students have to switch their mind. It's easy. If I know I'm solving English section, I am giving 25 minutes to it, then I move to quant. But here what was happening is I read, I solve English vocab kiya, फिर I jump to logical reasoning के 2 3
logical.
question, then I have to jump to maths, then again to English. So that is definitely a bit more challenging.
Okay, then I got a
Yeah.
feedback that this mock wasn't hard, this was confusing.
Okay, so I think this surprise was good actually, because if you look at, as I mentioned earlier, and we all have been given examinations for us, and we know NLU Delhi can come up with anything. Actually, you don't know until you see the paper in the examination hall what can be your, what could be the surprise waiting for you at that point of time. But what I really like, because Siddharth, you
One
defined the marks. Yeah.
Yeah, so you continue, then I will add.
So what I was saying is that, of course, internally we know that you also define the mocks for like what should be the level of difficulty kind of questions. What I really appreciate about this particular mock is the topics which have been picked. If you talk about like cybercrime, matrix, or monarchy, they are very close to the kind of passages which were given in AILET 2023. Now, if I talk about Elizabeth too, see the similarity over here. We have Alexander over here talking about Napoleon Bonaparte. We are talking about monarchy, the kinship wala, the passage which came over here in 2023 paper. Then mining cryptocurrency was there. Actually, we have covered Bitcoin over here, and this is where the FK grade. I think this is only where it is beyond 13 actually. Rest the kind of range, and there is one more actually. That's 13 actually, which is condemnation of untouchability by Madras High Court. I think very similar kind of passages have been worked out while creating this particular mock. I think, except for the fact that the word count remained within a particular limit, not going beyond 450. But I think the selection of the passages were really, really close.
Okay, one thing, we are getting too many questions. So, guys, we'll take your question at last. Let's just finish it. Then we'll pick all the issues with respect to Trigo, whether you'll get it in CLAT or not, length of the passage, how to finish. We'll pick each and every question. But once we are done with the giving an idea about the entire mock.
Okay, quickly looking at the English overview, this was the breakup of the LET 2023 paper. So we had inference, vocab, fact, assumption based questions, as well as main idea questions were also asked, but they were limited to two only from across the 10 passages. If you look at the mocks, definitely the variation was there. Quite a number of questions based on the inference, basically this time. The number of questions from vocab, definitely, and I think this could have helped the students score better actually. And so, what I'll do is I'll quickly move on to the GK section unless our experts have other inputs over here. And okay, so we did made a little bit of change over here, and because we still have more mocks to go for as far as reality is concerned, so that anyways experiment will continue, but we'll largely stick to the last 4 5 years paper in the new format itself. Now what is good about this particular, what one thing nobody speaks about much is actually when you are comparing reality 2023 paper and when you are looking at this mock, don't forget the fact as well that this particular mock gave you 120 minutes to solve the paper, whereas ALET 2023 was still 150 questions to be done in 90 minutes actually. The time change happened in 2024, not in 2023. So don't forget, because if you look at the scores now from here on, and you'll see that of course people have done better. And when I mentioned that data, जब मैंने बताया था कि only 12 students got a score above 80, don't forget the fact they had to complete the paper in 90 minutes. And from 2024 you are getting 120 minutes, so I think that factor should be considered when we look at these scores. GK, AILT is very standard. I think this is one area they don't experiment with. They try to cover everything possible actually. So they remain, they have the focus on current affairs, and majority of the time, if you look at the static GK question, except for those couple of them, maybe two three of them, mostly even the questions which are technically static, they have current context actually. So ALET GK is something which has always been constant. And if you look at this 2023, we had 10 questions from national, 3 on science, 6 on sports. We tried to brought a little bit of variety over here. So we covered all the important, and especially from January, February, and May month, actually, a lot, most of the important important information was covered over here actually. But definitely I got a little bit surprised when I looked at the scores as far as GK section is concerned. Some of the questions where the data is contrary to what I believe, that this is some question which could have been really easier for the students, but this is where most of the attempts. So I'll come to that. What I'll do is I'll quickly move on to English, and we'll have definitely English and LR inputs from Siddharth. Now, just talking about the top 100 student score for this particular mock, English and logical reasoning, out of 120, we have the average score is 82. For the GK, out of 30, the score is 19.25. And if I look at the overall score of the top 100 students, the average score turns out to be 101.25. So what Swasti people are talking about, that probably difficulty level of the mock and all, the scores reflects otherwise. Actually, the scores, I think they were really comfortable while attempting
Yes,
this.
now I'm getting a mixed comment. Like somebody had stated that this mock was very interesting, maybe because of the blend of the usual standard section that kept me on my toes. So Raj Nandini is saying the same. Similarly, Ishu is saying that this mock wasn't hard. But then I'm surprised to see one comment where the name is hidden, it's anonymous. The person is saying that I have scored 65.5 in the mock, but I skipped entire GK. So that is again a surprising thing, that how can you skip the entire GK section when you are attempting the mock?
I think that's a wrong strategy, and I think the person needs to look into. So, Siddharth, English and LR.
Yeah. Okay. So, in fact, everything was English and LR now. So, see, there were quite a few. As far as the English part was concerned, the 50 marks of English, that I think was the easier part. Apart from couple of questions, and that too in passage one, I completely understand why students have got question number 1 and 4 wrong. See, let me tell you, at times we deliberately make bad options, not that we like to do that. Actually, the people who take the exam, they do it that way. So we have to deliberately make few options or few questions bad, where all the options look bad है, कुछ अच्छा नहीं है. ठीक है, so that was the case, I think, with question number 1. If you have watched my recording, I have discussed that कि यार ठीक है, मतलब I have to mark something which I do not agree with, but that is the best agreeable thing out of the 4. Right? Question number 4, which of the following cannot be inferred from the passage? Again, a bad question. I mean, because exams do that, so we have 3-4 questions every time which can fall into that category. All right, so I can see that a lot of students got that wrong. Question number 12 was of logical reasoning. Legal, I don't know why
Legal,
people got
legal.
this one wrong. हाँ, लीगल का था ये तो. वो लोअर
And
कास्ट स्टूडेंट डिनाइड एडमिशन टू प्राइवेट स्कूल.
exactly.
The same thing.
And if I look at from 6 to 12, it was more kind of legal and very straightforward, that this person has been denied entry, or maybe private institution denied entry basing on the low caste people and all. And if I look at the attempt and the number of correct student, आई थिंक एवरीवर एक्सेप्ट क्वेश्चन नंबर 8 जहां पे थोड़ा बैलेंस बन रहा है, नहीं सॉरी, क्वेश्चन नंबर 10 ऑल्सो वेयर द करेक्ट इज मोर देन द अटेम्प्ट, अदरवाइज इट्स लाइक आई डोंट नो, आई मीन इट वाज द मोस्ट इजी क्वेश्चन 6 to 12 if you look at the entire mock.
हाँ,
In
of
fact,
course.
for those who have joined it for the first time, all the students, let me just give you a quick idea about the graph which you are looking at right now. So, the blue bars which you can see over here against each of the question numbers which is mentioned here. Now, this represents the total percentage of students who attempted this particular question. And because it's a Tuesday, this is an offline, or it's a Wednesday, it's an offline mock. Majority of the data gets uploaded tomorrow when we receive the OMRs from across the country. This is a data from among 900 students, which is available. Now, you can see this when I talk about this blue bars, this reflects the percentage of students within those 900 who attempted this particular question. And that's almost kind of 100%, 95% maybe. And the orange bar, that reflects the percentage within this particular group which got it correct. Now, of course, one of the elements which you definitely look at it, and I have spoken it earlier as well. I remember when you see this particular look at, I think definitely one of the reason that perception was that this question was definitely easy. I think with the option they got confused, but only less than 40% of the students got it correct. Actually, less than 20% of the student got their answer right, but almost 100% attempted tried to attempt this particular question. Same story is here with almost 90% have attempted the question, but only within those 90%, only 40% got it right actually. Another passage, if you the compasses and direction, question number 18, Siddharth, if you have any specific input for
Yeah,
this.
so see, in this particular passage, although students have got that right, question number 14 and question number 20 of logical reasoning. I mean, both these questions required something that is not mentioned in the passage. थोड़ा सा beyond सोचना था, debatable था, but that then I said, I told you the reason why we keep it sometimes debatable. Question number 18, which of the following statement is true? That was a fact-based question. I don't know why students got that wrong. All the three statements there were there in the passage, apart from one, which is थोड़ा सा change करके दे दिया था. So it is a fact-based question which students should have got right. So I don't know वो वहां पर एक पढ़ा नहीं ठीक से, वो गलती किया है. ठीक है. Passage number 3, यहाँ से तो English वो became very easy. That I think lot of questions based on vocab. Even without reading the passage, people could have got them right. So there were questions on tone. So yeah, the problem with passage number 3 is that maybe comprehension wise it was much more challenging as compared to other passages. That definitely I agree, that might be the case. Otherwise this was a simple passage. And the accuracy also suggests that this was a simple passage. Passage number 4, which was on Alexander, once again passage was simple. English wala to sab part theek dikh raha hai. The problem started with questions on logical reasoning. So I was looking at the graph, and students perhaps have not practiced the analytical reasoning questions that much. And if you see across the passages, analytical reasoning questions, wherever they are, for example, in this particular case, it was we have to apply two logics. There was family tree and circular arrangement, sitting arrangement. So these questions were based on that. Students did not attempt. So if you see, even attempts भी कम है, 44, 45, 46 attempts ही कम है. जो attempt किए, they have got it right. The
They have
60%
got it.
have got right. But then that it seems that people have not, maybe not practiced those kind of questions. Then there was this passage on Bitcoin. Okay, this was, yeah, Bitcoin. So I don't know why 50 select the option that is, yeah, that is it is asked what is the meaning of level the playing field. That was so direct. So maybe people got confused with the question. Otherwise, there wasn't much in this. There was logical reasoning was also what they usually do in the CLAT. So that's why maybe accuracy and attempt both looks okay. Passage number 6, again, if I go in passage number 6, which was about DNA, question number 66, 67, and 68 and 69 also, these were the questions on simple wo arrangement wala. So definitely students have not practiced that. Delighted
Yeah,
to see that 70,
yeah,
71 and 72, which were the easiest question, agar instruction pad le to people have got it right. So that is good. Next is then passage 7.
this
Okay,
is where
passage 7 at, yeah, so I think we have corrected it. There was some
we
problem
have
with that
corrected it,
particular
and
question, right?
we have given marks for anybody who attempted these two questions. So we have
76 and
put that
80,
is,
yeah, so the
yeah.
students have got the marks.
This over here, I think this is again, I think, a surprising element. Those who have attempted, look at this particular graph. Those who have attempted, majority have got it right. The
92,
matrix.
93, right?
Yeah.
तो परहैप्स वो उसका जो ऑप्शंस था ना, वो देख के ही बहुत लोग डर गए 92 का. 4A percentage, the numerator, maths was there. So we can't assume whether the students anyways don't solve maths, and here they would have left it. But those questions were easy, right? So
I think majority
similarly,
have
last
what I can
question
see is
also.
majority have done well in the English part. The struggle has always been in the LR in this particular
LR
part.
part.
Yeah, yeah. And that too, more these all 119, 120, these are all maths question.
And
119,
also,
120 is maths. 6, 7, 8 is also maths.
and if I say LR, so it is pure LR. AILET is asking very few questions from legal. So don't rely on legal that, okay, I'll get questions in legal and then I'll be able to solve it. So you have to work on LR.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this brings us to GK and of course surprising element over here actually. So in fact, I was really surprised to look at few questions, the data of the few questions. Like, see, number of people attempting this particular question is less than 50%. This was about the postal ballot question actually, and if you look at the option, it was very evident that all of them can have the right for the postal ballot actually. The services were kind of mentioned over there actually, so that was definitely. And those who attempted, some of them, majority of them have got it right, not I would say all of them have got it right.
And then
What was,
this
yeah.
topic I had covered in boot camp session also. GK, important topic, postal ballot. I was telling you na ki they were not aware of ki kya criteria hai and like what is the benchmark for disabled people, and also I had covered this topic recently.
And that too, Swasni, we are talking about a time when elections were held. I think they should have read all about the elections actually. So this was very, very important. Then question number 127, again, that was a surprise for me. If I look at the data global innovation index, India retained actually its rank, previous rank, 40th with her. So I think this is again something which I was expecting people to know. 129, Prabha Atre, definitely I would say not many people would have uh, expected that kind of question, and question was correct actually. Question was wonderfully selected, but I think I did not expect everyone to know about this, especially when it comes to the gharanas of the music and all. So that is I would say from an overall perspective definitely it could have been a month. But what surprised me over here is question number 135. I expected at least isko to 100% attempt karenge, because I have covered this on YouTube, I have covered this in other sessions as well. And Marrakesh Agreement is from where the start of WTO happened. So I think this is something which has been taught so many times, has been covered in earlier mocks video and video solutions as well. I was really surprised why less than 50% students attempted this particular question, which means you guys are not even watching the video solutions for the earlier mocks actually. When you attempted, please watch that. This I remember I have covered in one of the prime mocks, as well as I have done a video on this which is there on YouTube, spoke about this. So ये 135 तो definitely I was not expecting कि इतने कम attempt होंगे. If I talk about 136 green the green credit program, okay, so look at this. और यहाँ पर choice से पकड़ा जा सकता था. COP26 जैसे ही दिखा, I think उससे अगर हम उस पे हम थोड़ा ध्यान देते, फोकस देते, तो we could have actually taken that risk and got that answer. 137 RTGS. Now everybody is sharing money online. I'm sure you have heard a lot about RTGS, NEFT, IMPS. आज के डेट में तो हर किसी को पता है. Surprisingly, not many people. Okay, from a student perspective, I can understand. 138 definitely difficult था. GS stat president के बारे में था. 139 again I would say कि हाँ ठीक है. Secure IoT के बारे में बात किया था, थोड़ा different question था. 147 Infosys wala, those who have attempted, majority have got it right. 149, of course, again, I expect from an important event perspective, one could have read that Colombo process. But what really surprises again is less number of people attempting this question, something which happened in May, so many times highlighted. We are talking about UN Military Gender Advocate of the Year, Major Radhika Sen. Media covered it for almost a day or two actually, and this is the scenario, guys. You need to really work on, seriously work on your GK aspect actually, because this is a very important section, both प्लैट एंड आइलेट, और इस पे काम करना पड़ेगा. मतलब इतना करंट अफेयर्स की चीजें अगर भूल जाते हैं, नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं, इसका मतलब हम पढ़ ही नहीं रहे उसके बारे में. सो दैट इज डेफिनेटली वन हैज टू लुक इनटू इट. So I think we'll go to the questions, and we should pick up the questions actually over here.
Yes. So
But
basically,
before that, anything, Swasni, you might like to cover from this particular mock perspective?
no, sir. Already things has been covered, but yeah, if LR and GK is the area of concern, so they need to work on it. And as I have stated that we are already in mid of June. I mean, sorry, June is also ending. We are about to touch July, so
Five,
6 months
5 months,
information.
5 days from now
Yes,
on.
6 month information is there in your hand. This is the time where you need to work on it. You need to revise it, because if you keep it for last moment, then again that issue will be there. Then again, the next concern is student not taking attempting mocks, keeping it for last moment. So these two are the areas, until and unless on if they are going to work on this, this is not going to be helpful for them. So these two things they have to keep in mind: revision as much as they can revise, and attempting mocks on time.
Okay, Arman has a question. How many students gave Pride Mock
That
14? The
you
data
already asked.
that I've already covered. I think the students need to be attentive, but I'll just quickly do it for everyone's benefit. The data I covered today is for 900 students. By tomorrow, we get all the OMRs on Thursday from across the country. So the data will definitely go beyond 3,500. Good score in this mock. If you look at the top 100 student score, the average is 101.25. Why did we get quant? That were deliberately done because it's not a CLAT thing or an ILET thing. Section wise, it is not there actually, but you get AR. Look at since the time they have removed the elementary mathematics section, still they are covering AR. They are covering other kind of questions. So that surprise element needs to be taken care of right now in the mocks rather than the actual examination. Okay,
Okay.
so options were confusing. Options confusing है तो one of the strategies, because this also involves negative marking, you don't necessarily need to take risk all the time. Okay, so I think one of the strategies, when we looked at the data, मुझे लगता है कि वहां पे 1 और 4 क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 और 4 तो छोड़ना चाहिए था. अगर इतना confusion था तो definitely छोड़ना चाहिए था. Instead of getting negative, I would have done still better actually. वो तो वहां नंबर मिल जाते मुझे.
ओके, एक क्वेश्चन मिस हो गया है. इज 80 to 90 marks good score? If you are considering and talking about AILET, then I will not consider it to be a bad score. It's actually a good score, but then obviously you need not to satisfy over here. You'll have to work hard. You'll have to increase by 5 marks in each and every mock, but then this is not a bad score for sure.
So, what will be the expected cutoff for ILO 2025? See, please understand, nobody is an astrologer over here, so you have to definitely remember this perspective. Uh, of course, if you look at the trend over the years, one thing is that AILET 80 plus is always a good score. Mostly, it has been actually a good score, but please understand, cutoffs is what you will be able to understand on 8th of December only at 2 p.m. The moment you open the paper, you will still be able to understand more than anybody else. But right now, any number, I think we say any number, that's something which is not going to do anything good for the students actually. But consider always doing your best. और मुझे लगता है 80 plus is always has been a good score, but पेपर और आसान होगा तो डेफिनेटली उसके ऊपर चला जाएगा. So that we have to understand.
So one thing, so this is something which you'll have to stop thinking about. If paper will be tough, cutoff will obviously go low. If paper would be easier, cutoff will go high. This is the only thing which you need to know, and that shouldn't be our concern. Our concern should be how I am performing in the mocks, how much I am scoring in the mocks, and what shall be my next strategy for next particular mock. How much I shall improve by each and every mock. That is something which shall be our concern, नॉट कि वो क्या क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे, क्या कट ऑफ जाएगा, पेपर कैसा होगा. दैट इज समथिंग व्हिच विल लीव फॉर 8th of December.
How to manage CLAT after college after 6 p.m.
Once you are done with the college, come back, like take a rest for half an hour or something like that. Do whatever you feel like doing, relax yourself, then start studying for CLAT. So maybe daily, if you give 1 to 2 hours for CLAT preparation, here I'm not covering newspaper for sure. That is a separate segment. But other than that, if you are giving 1 2 hours daily for CLAT preparation, then I think it would suffice. Yes, that also includes that by like every Sunday you have to attempt a mock for sure. And Amitain sir and Siddharth sir, if you want to add anything to this.
नहीं, मैं तो इतना ही बोलूँगा कि डेफिनेटली सी आई आई डू अंडरस्टैंड व्हेन समबडी इज गोइंग टू कॉलेज देयर आर आई लुक एट फ्रॉम दिस द स्टूडेंट इज आइदर गोइंग टू रीटेक द एग्जामिनेशन और he might be taking for the first time, but from a sense of security he or she has taken the admission. Now, please understand, unless your college has very specific rules in terms of attendance, like you have to maintain a 90% or a 95%, look where you get those opportunities where you can still bunk those classes, I mean, skip those classes, and maybe spend a little bit time extra on your CLAT preparation. I'm sure you have your career in mind. I don't know which kind of college you are already enrolled in, whether it's a law school itself. If you are into law school, I'm sure you are getting help with the legal. In law school, definitely you'll be reading a lot, so that will also help you out. The other thing is, look at your examination schedule for the college. Actually, you first need to set your priorities right. Which is priority right now? I think CLAT, and that is why you are here. You're asking this question. So set your priorities right and work for from the exam perspective. Actually, so I would say if your semester exams are happening before that, maybe play for next 10, 15, whenever you have your semester exam, before that maybe 10, 15 days you put all your energies for that. Otherwise you can still take out time and work through the CLAT preparation. Actually, after one first December you can always go back to your college scheme of things actually, but I think CLAT definitely is important for you, and that's the reason I expect you to be here. So
Okay.
Siddharth, if you have any other take over here. uh,
I agree. I will only quantify. I will add to what you have said, and this is for everyone. So we need to give 400 hours to CLAT preparation starting from today. So मेरे हिसाब से 400-500 घंटे का preparation at least चाहिए. So every week if you give around 20 to 25 hours to your preparation. Now it depends on whether you give 8 hours on Sunday or what, but for 7 days, let us keep target of at least 20 to 25 hours that you have to give to your CLAT preparation, including mocks, including newspaper reading. Then you will be at least in the race. Of course, it depends on other parameters, other factors also, but that is something that you should actually aim for.
Okay, there is a very interesting question, sir. This is something which I have also faced and I have answered this, but this is a kind of, you can say, common concern where they feel demotivated, they feel like that their score is declining by every mock. So whether they shall take a break and then start fresh or they shall continue. So my take is continue writing the mocks, but what you both will suggest for the same?
I'm okay with people taking break just to freshen up. So it's okay if you want to miss a mock or two, it is completely okay. But make sure that the mocks that you have missed, you take it when you feel good about the things and when your scores are moving up. So according to me, it is fine if you miss a mock or two, not more than that.
बट सिद्धार्थ इतना आसान नहीं है ना मॉक मिस करना, फिर उसके फिर मैं 90 फिर मैं दो दो महीने बाद वापस वो मॉक एक्टिवेट करूंगा ना.
ठीक है, but
So
So, हाँ,
psychologically if somebody is not
हाँ,
feeling good, so it is
that's
okay.
okay.
एक
But
आध miss
please,
कर दिया.
but I'll also look at this perspective. Now, we see right now your mocks are happening on a weekly basis. From August, the frequency will increase. So I think week is a good time to bring your, I think, back actually that
energy
see,
back.
and don't lose heart if you it happens with everybody. We did that session during the CLAT boot camp. We spoke about importance of mock. We showed you data of past year stoppers, how their scores fluctuated actually, but then never you saw that graph. No, you saw that graph of Pragna Reddy and other students. She was AIR 4 actually last year. You all have seen those graphs actually. We had a session done on YouTube on the similar lines last month. हमने वो भी यहाँ पे पहले किया था. If you look at those, everybody faces that kind of scenario. I think the whole idea is to continue. I think continuity is something which is very important. अगर एक दो मॉक में scores कम हो गए उसकी वजह से disheartened होने से फायदा नहीं है. Please understand, at the end of the day, what you need to do is you have to crack CLAT and ILET on 1st and 8th of December. मॉक्स के स्कोर ऊपर नीचे चल जाएंगे वहां के, तो यहाँ पे जो वेरिएशन है, आई थिंक देर इज अ लर्निंग विच इज देयर फॉर यू एक्चुअली. बट ठीक है, आई ऑल्सो अग्री टू सिद्धार्थ पॉइंट, एक आध मॉक उससे ज्यादा नहीं, बट आगे जाकर के जब फील गुड फैक्टर लगता है तुम्हें तो डेफिनेटली अटेम्प्ट करो उसको. बट ये नहीं होना कि मॉक्स छोड़ गए तो 3-4 मॉक्स लगातार छोड़ रहे हैं, फिर वो नहीं होना चाहिए. यू मस्ट हैव सीन दोस चार्ट्स वेयर यू कुड हैव सीन काउंटडाउन मॉक्स स्टूडेंट्स ने continuously attempt किए थे, and as we move closer we would expect to take more mocks actually, and that is how the entire schedule has been designed for you.
Okay. The next question, I think this is something which we have been getting at multiple occasion, month and 2.0 newspaper, ye wo.
ये
So,
खत्म
Amitin
नहीं
Tara.
होगा. ये क्वेश्चन कभी खत्म नहीं होगा. For some reason actually I don't understand. See, I always advise three resources when it comes to
अभिचेन पहले
month.
पूछो, पीपल आर वाचिंग दैट यूट्यूब का 3 बजे का लाइव एनालिसिस और
Hindu
नॉट?
analysis. Yes, I hope you guys are watching I mean, seeing everyday analysis and getting a fair idea of each and everyday important updates.
Okay, in fact, I saw Govind there on the backstage for a couple of minutes ago. I'm sure he would be expecting Kesab aayenge. Will be okay. So one of you will be in college actually, but what about the others? Please
आगे
understand.
कॉलेज से आके देख लो.
Most of you will be back from school. Summer vacations चल रहे हैं. अगर नहीं है तो कोई बात नहीं. बाद में तो देख सकते हो ना. तो शाम को
हाँ.
आकर के वो देखना पड़ेगा. Okay, coming back to that month thing, see, please understand, first of all, remember what I spoke earlier, limit your number of resources. But when it comes to GK, there are three important resources. One is your newspaper. Pick one of that, Hindu or Indian Express. One is that definitely. The second one is both the months, I would say, both the months. Please understand at the end of the day, whatever event you speak about, at the end of the day, it is data. And one thing which has worked for everyone, and that is what my advice has been: never start with the passage when it comes to GK. Start with the question. Sometimes, for at least out of the five, four I would say you don't even need to read the passage many a times. So for that, we we need data. Manthan 1, Manthan 2.0, and mocks. Now, when you are doing this, of course, newspaper you cannot go and revise because that's not going to happen. And this is where Manthan and mocks come into picture: weekly revision, monthly revision, quarterly revision. That's how you should be doing it. Somebody asked about revision, so it has to be weekly, it has to be monthly, and then it has to be on a quarterly basis, because GK is vast. Remembering the data is not something which you can expect 100%, but if you do revision on a regular basis, you will definitely not forget that. Actually, that is
Okay.
very, very.
I think there's one interesting question that I prepare analysis chart, but how should I go about maintaining the mocks mistakes book log? I think this Siddharth sir has taken in one of the mock thing, no?
For
Analysis.
maintaining, I mean, simply write and revise before every mock. I don't think that you need to do it beyond 5-7 mocks, right? So 5-7 mock के बाद you will be able to see that you are committing same type of mistakes. Just remember that. Okay, so there is a limit जितना मतलब उसमें effort जाना चाहिए, उसका limit है. I think 5 mock is a good number. Maintain all the mistakes का log. कुछ नया mistake करते हो, then maybe you can bookmark it, or you can write it down somewhere. Other than that, not required.
And one thing
Improve.
which I have, sorry, one thing which I have realized now is कि they are more like taking tension than actually working on it. ये कैसे करना है, ये कहाँ से करना है? That is something which you'll have to work on. चलो के लिखना है, चलो के करना है. Tension नहीं लेना है.
Okay, I think we have covered all the questions, Swasni. So we'll call it off for today, actually, and see you
Yes,
guys
sir.
next time, 8 p.m. once again. With but next time it is going to be analysis of the CLAT mock.
Platform.
So go ahead, write it, and also encourage your friends. But at the same time, if you're here in this session and you're not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to the channel, because there's a lot of action happening over here right now, actually. So don't forget to be here. Hindu analysis, live sessions on an everyday basis is happening out here. The quizzes are happening at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. So don't miss out the opportunity of learning out here. And see you next time at 8 p.m. Bye bye till then. And thank you, Suhasini. Thank you, Siddharth, for joining today.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Okay. Bye, 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 everyone.